It was a night like any other war, so I thought. The house was quiet, save for the occasional creak of the old floorboards beneath my pacing feet. Midnight had come and gone, and my wife Hannah still wasn't home. My gut told me something was off, though I didn't want to believe it. She had mentioned a work dinner earlier, brushing it off as routine, but something in her tone had felt distant, rehearsed. I glanced at my phone again. No messages, no calls. The unease gnawed at me, each passing second feeding the pit growing in my stomach. The clock on the wall ticked away with maddening precision as I sat in the dimly lit living room, waiting. Then, at nearly 2 a.m., I heard the unmistakable sound of her car pulling into the driveway. My heart thudded against my ribs. I didn't know what I was feeling. Relief that she was finally home or dread about what I might discover. I waited, unmoving, as the front door creaked open. She stepped inside, her heels clicking softly against the hardwood floor, her silhouette outlined by the faint moonlight streaming through the windows. She was fumbling with her coat, her movements jittery and unsteady. That's when I turned on the lights. Hannah froze, her eyes wide with shock as if she'd seen a ghost. Her usually composed demeanor was in shambles. She stumbled back a step, her face pale, her lips slightly parted as though searching for words that wouldn't come. "Late night," I said, my voice calm, almost eerily so. I leaned back in the armchair, a glass of scotch resting in my hand. My eyes locked on her, refusing to look away. She swallowed hard, her throat working as if it had turned to sandpaper. "I told you it was a work dinner. It ran late." Her voice quivered just barely, but I caught it. I caught everything. "That what you're calling it?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. I took a slow sip of my drink, letting the silence stretch. Funny. Work dinners don't usually leave lipstick smudging on a man's collar. Hannah's face drained of color. She instinctively touched her neck, brushing against her own crimson lipstick. The room seemed to close in around us, the air growing heavy with unspoken truths. "Daniel, I can explain," she started, her voice trembling. "Don't," I interrupted sharply. I stood, setting my glass down on the coffee table with deliberate care. My movements were slow, measured, but my mind was racing. I stepped closer and she took a step back as though the physical distance could shield her from what was coming. "Don't insult me by pretending there's an explanation I'll believe," I said, my voice low, but each word carried the weight of my anger and betrayal. "Who is he?" She opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again. Nothing. Silence spoke louder than any confession. I made a mistake," she finally whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "It meant nothing, Daniel. It was stupid and I regretted it. Please stop." My voice was cold now, sharp as glass. I looked at her, really looked at her. This was the woman I'd loved for 10 years. The woman I'd built a life with, shared dreams with. No, she was a stranger standing in my home. "It meant nothing," I repeated, my laugh bitter and humorless. "Do you think that makes it better? That it was so meaningless to you? You were willing to throw everything away for it?" Her tears were falling freely now, streaking her carefully applied makeup. "Daniel, please, we can get through this. We can get through this. I love you." Love. The word hit me like a slap to the face. Love wasn't sneaking around behind your partner's back. Love wasn't coming home at 2 a.m. smelling like someone else's cologne. Love was trust, and she had shattered it. I walked past her, grabbing my jacket from the coat rack. "Where are you going?" she asked, panic lacing her voice. "Out," I said without looking back. "Don't wait up." I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I drove aimlessly through the city. The same streets we'd walked together so many times before. Memories of better days flashed through my mind, mocking me with their sweetness. The betrayal cut deeper with each passing hour. But somewhere in the early hours of the morning, my pain began to morph into something else. Resolve. I wasn't going to let her destroy me. She thought she could treat our marriage like a disposable convenience. She had another thing coming. When I returned home, the house was quiet. Hannah was asleep or pretending to be. Either way, it didn't matter. I had plans to make. Over the next few weeks, I played the part of the understanding husband. I told her I wanted to work things out, that we could rebuild. I went to therapy with her, listened as she poured out her guilt and remorse. I nodded, reassured her, even held her as she cried. All the while, I was laying the groundwork for my revenge. First, I gathered evidence. Texts, messages, emails, photos, everything I could find. Hannah had been careless, assuming I wouldn't look too closely. She had underestimated me. Next, I reached out to a lawyer. I'd always been meticulous about our finances, ensuring that the assets were in my name. Turned out to be a wise decision. With a solid prenuptial agreement in place, I was in a strong position to protect what was mine. The final piece of the puzzle was the most satisfying. I tracked down the man she'd been seeing, a coworker named Matt, a smug, married coworker. As it turned out, I wasn't one to confront directly. Instead, I anonymously sent his wife everything I'd uncovered. Let her deal with him, and then I waited. The day of reckoning arrived sooner than I expected. It was a Saturday afternoon when I suggested we host a small dinner party with friends. Hannah, eager to prove her commitment to fixing our marriage, agreed. She had no idea what was coming. As our guests arrived, she played the perfect hostess, laughing and smiling as though nothing was amiss. I watched her, a small, satisfied smile playing on my lips. Midway through the evening, I stood to make a toast. To new beginnings, I said, raising my glass. To honesty. Hannah's smile faltered slightly, but she quickly recovered. Here, here, she said, clinking her glass against mine. Actually, I continued, I have something I'd like to share with all of you. A little story about love and betrayal. The room fell silent. Hannah's eyes widened in panic as she realized where this was going. Daniel, she began, but I held up a hand to stop her. Let me finish, I said, my voice calm but firm. I turned to our friends. It turns out the woman I've spent the last 10 years of my life with has been keeping secrets. While I was busy building a life for us, she was exploring other options. Gasps filled the room. Hannah looked like she wanted to disappear. Don't worry, I said, turning back to her. I've taken care of everything. The divorce papers are ready. Assets are secure. And your little secret? It's no longer a secret. Oh, and Matt sends his regards. Or maybe he doesn't. He's dealing with his own fallout now. Hannah's face crumpled as the weight of my words sank in. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but I felt no sympathy. She had made her choices. Now she was facing the consequences. The party ended abruptly, the guests leaving in stunned silence. Hannah tried to plead with me, but I was done listening. When she finally packed her bags and left, the house felt strangely peaceful. It wasn't the ending I had envisioned for our marriage, but it was the one she had chosen. And as I sat alone in the quiet of my living room, I realized something important. I was free. Free to rebuild, to start over, to find someone who valued loyalty and honesty as much as I did. This time, I wouldn't settle for anything less.